Hey friends, welcome back to my Family Fun Club. My name is Bradley Weaver, and this episode features one of my favorite instruments, the lap steel. Let's have fun. And here we go with the lap steel episode. Now, as I've mentioned before, I spent about 8 years of my life touring around the country with a band called Ryan, Chris, and the Rough Cuts. And in that band, my role was the lap steel player. If you're not familiar with the lap steel guitar, it's an incredible instrument. The sound is amazing. And that's why I started playing in the first place. I just loved the sound of that slide guitar. But the lap steel, you literally set on your lap and play it with a bar slide. The strings are really high off the fretboard, so you can't play it like a normal guitar. I have actually recorded a really quick explanation video and put it up on YouTube, so I will link to that in the show notes so you can see what the lap steel looks like and how I play it. Please check that out when you get a chance. Now, you'll hear the lap steel featured in many different genres of popular music. Bluegrass, country, of course, Hawaiian music, the blues, rock music, and I'm going to try to touch on several of those throughout this mini concert. The first tune I'd like to do, I'm going to do in the country bluegrass style, and this is my song called Farmers. Farmers grow the foods we eat, corn and beans and fruit and wheat. If you like food, tell a farmer thank you. They're at work before the sun, while you sleep, pajamas on. Next time you see a farmer, just say thank you. Waking up before the sun, hearty breakfast, and then it's time to run. Working the land with two strong hands, throwing bales of hay by the ton. Farmers grow the foods we eat, corn and beans and fruit and wheat. If you like food, tell a farmer thank you. They're at work before the sun, while you sleep, pajamas on. Next time you see a farmer, just say thank you. Dad worked the farm, Granddad as well. Family business, too many years to tell. It's in her blood, doing what she does. She's a farmer, always been and always will. Farmers grow the foods we eat, corn and beans and fruit and wheat. If you like food, tell a farmer thank you. They're at work before the sun, while you sleep, pajamas on. Next time you see a farmer, just say thank you. Next time you see a farmer, just say thank you. Next time you see a farmer, just say thank you. Farmers. This is so much fun. Now, the lap steel is generally used as what they would call a color instrument, meaning that oftentimes you'll just sit back and let the other instruments handle the rhythm work, and then you'll just come in with these cool riffs and fills here and there, and of course do soloing. And that's kind of why I really enjoy the challenge of arranging a full song where it's just me and the lap steel. So I kind of have to do that rhythm work and try to do the fills here and there. So as I mentioned earlier, one of the genres that the lap steel seems to fit really nicely into is rock music and rock and roll music. So I would like to now turn up the distortion a little bit and try a rock and roll arrangement of a tune that my family kind of wrote together for fun while we were vacationing last year in London. So here is a rock and roll version of Trains, Trains Over Our Heads. 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 Rumble, 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 rumble. Planes, planes over our heads. Planes, planes over our heads. Planes, planes whoosh, 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 whoosh. Cars, cars over our heads. Cars, cars over our heads. Cars, cars over our heads. Beep, 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 beep. Birds, birds over our heads. Birds, birds over our heads. Birds, birds over our heads. Cheep, 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 cheep. Trains, trains over our heads. The next tune I'd like to do is actually a banjo tune. This is a bluegrass song called Deuling Banjos, and as it sounds, it was written for two banjos to play back and forth with each other. But I like to do a quick little arrangement on the lap steel. It's such a fun little finger picking workout, and I use it as a warm up often. So let's see how this goes. Deuling Banjos on lap steel. You know what? I think we should do a Rafi tune. Now, I have done this tune before on the podcast, but I don't think you can ever have too much Rafi. And this is a fun one to play on the lap steel. So let's do a couple verses of Down by the Bay. Down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, have you ever seen a goose kissing a moose? Down by the bay, down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, have you ever seen a fly wearing a tie? Down by the bay, down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, have you ever seen a bear combing its hair? Down by the bay, down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, have you ever seen llamas eating their pajamas? Down by the bay, down by the bay, where the watermelons grow, back to my home, I dare not go, for if I do, my mother will say, this doggone song's gone on too long, down by the bay. Down by the bay. All right, let's do one more short song in this very special lap steel episode of my fun club. I would like to do a blues song. Now, the blues have been around a long, long time and have been very popular a long, long time, and with good reason. It is because everyone gets the blues. Everyone gets sad sometimes, even children. And it is very important to recognize that and recognize that you are not the only one who gets sad. So here is my blues song for children. This is about one of the saddest times of the day, I think. This is called When Playin' Time Is Over. When playing time is over, we put our toys away. Oh yes, when playing time is over, we put our toys away. When playing time is over, we put our toys away. We put our toys away when playing time is done. We put our toys away when playing time is done. We put our toys away when playing time is done. When playing time is over, we put our toys away. Well, I want to thank you all once again so much for hanging out with me for another episode of my Family Fun Club podcast. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Introducing people to the lap steel is one of my favorite things to do, and I really hope you enjoyed the arrangements of these tunes. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you know a family who you think would enjoy this podcast, please let them know about it, because the more, the merrier. Now, I'm going to leave you all with a lullaby, of course. This week, I'm going to do a live lullaby on the lap steel. I have recorded a few albums under the moniker Sonny Trenchfoot, and it is more on the rock and roll side, a little bit heavier than my kids' albums. So that's why I do it under a different name. But anyway, there is an instrumental on the first EP called Sunshine that I think would fit very nicely. I'm going to slow it down a little bit and pick it out on the lap steel, and I will see you all down the road.